The historic flooding out of Tropical Storm Sara continues. Where it goes next. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather, and it's nice to see you on a late Saturday. I hope you're doing well. Coming up in this video, all the newest information on Tropical Storm Sara. I have a lot of video to show you, and none of it is good. There's a lot of flooding going on in portions of Central America right now. We'll talk about what's been happening with Sara, where it's going to be going. We've had other flooding rains through portions of our area today. We will look at that, and I've got your island by island rainfall forecast as well. As always, I'd love to hear from you guys, especially for those who have been impacted by some of the impactful weather, if you will, for today. Let me know in the comment section below where you're viewing from, what the weather has been like. You just want to drop a hi down in the comment section. Just love to hear from the Meteo Mundo weather community. Okay, Sara from 24 hours ago, things really haven't changed. It has meandered slightly farther off towards the west, but it's been fairly stationary on this Saturday. Tropical storm warnings still continue from the southern sides of Quintana Roo through coastal Belize, Guatemala, and portions of the northern sides of Honduras, including the coastal islands as well, Roatan and Guanaja included in that. Friends, it's still all about the heavy rain. Really significant rain. Yes, there's going to be some breezy conditions, but it is the flooding that continues across this area that will be the most impactful part of this storm, and it has not stopped as of yet. So the latest advisory for the Hurricane Center, the storm is located basically just to the west of Roatan, about 110 miles or 175 kilometers to the southeast of Belize City. Maximum sustained winds are 45 miles an hour. It's moving west at 5 miles an hour. Minimal central pressures down to or right around 1,000 millibars. It really is just fluctuated in intensity. Not expecting this to really get any stronger as it heads towards Belize overnight and into Sunday morning. It should stay around 45 to a 50 mile per hour storm, but the widespread rain it is bringing is the absolutely huge story. Let's start off in Honduras. From Roatan, Guanaja, La Ceiba, San Pedro Sula, Sierra La Esperanza, just other areas of northern Honduras have been hammered by 250, 500 millimeters of rain. 10 to 20 inches of rain in this area have already fallen. And you want to talk about what's the real world impacts of that kind of rain? Look at this. We have ongoing water rescues right now. This is the Bomberos area of Honduras. These are teenagers being rescued by some local firefighters, and you can see how fast the water is moving in that area, and it's just coming down. And these kinds of water rescues and this kind of rapid rises of the water is going to continue to be a huge story in Honduras over at least the next couple days. And we're not done with the rain. That's the big problem. So unfortunately, the story is playing out as expected with life-threatening landslides and mudslides and continued inundation of water. We could also see a 1 to 3 foot storm surge across Roatan, Guanaja, and other areas of coastal Guatemala and Belize. Now we'll start to see some of this heaviest rain move north and west and into Belize. Now that's already begun in portions of the coastal areas from San Pedro to Belize City and Dangriga. And again, the center line of the storm is likely to move inland just south of Dangriga early on Sunday as, again, a tropical storm. Once that occurs, it's going to take all of this tropical moisture and shove it inland as well. Now, the heavy rain has already begun across coastal Belize, and I've got a lot of pieces of video to show you from Belize. We'll start off with Joshua Malik here from Belize City. This is just a full screenshot of some of the situation he sent me. This is another perspective here of that as well. And again, just a lot of urban, a lot of street flooding, enough rainfall already in Belize City. And again, it's still coming. This is going to be a story here for a while. Let's go over to Dolphin Park. That's coastal Belize City. Nigel Coleman sends us this video. The park itself looks okay. Look at the splash coming over the seawall there. Again, the sea is angry, my friends. There's a lot of wind energy being driven in. We're going to have some tidal surges going along and obviously a lot more rain. And then Eduardo sends us this video a little bit farther south along the Belize coastline in the Dangriga area. It's about the same situation, guys. You've got a lot of street flooding, a lot of urban flooding. Look at the wind whipping across that area right now. Again, really slow movement of the the cars. Looks like they can cross that water, but once again, we say turn around, don't drown. Try not to get your vehicles into fast-moving water, okay? Even across the streets, it's a dangerous situation. You want to be in place, meaning you don't want to be out traveling as Tropical Storm Sara continues to inundate Belize with heavier rain. Again, it's kind of just starting in Belize in some aspects. Now, a little bit broader perspective, the numbers that you see are wind gusts in miles an hour. Other areas that have been impacted, same situation. We're getting some scattered showers through portions of Jamaica for today. It hasn't been extremely heavy. In some cases, it's just been some cloud coverage, but there's been a tropical downpour from time to time. Notice no lightning out of any of the situation right now, but there's still a lot of moisture in the air. As a matter of fact, there's a thunderstorm at sea warning right now for the southern coastal areas of Jamaica. We've had some heavier rain once again develop, move back over the Grand Cayman area with some spottier showers over Little Cayman and Cayman Brac. It hasn't been as concentrated overall for today, but pockets of heavier rain still likely. Now for Quintana Roo itself, it's really been the southern sides towards the Chechemal area. Here's something of note that's very interesting. Take a look at this water vapor imagery. Look at this drier air in red that is pushing down into Cuba in the northern sides of the Yucatan. This is a part of that area of high pressure that we talked about building over Florida right now. You can see the drier air that's been coming in throughout the entire Gulf and the western side of the Atlantic, and it's really eating away at the northern moisture of Sara at this point in time. So it's kind of getting squashed on the northern side. Eventually, as Sara moves north into the west, that moisture will return and we'll get more heavy rain for portions of the Yucatan. But at this point in time, you can clearly see that that drier air is kind of dropping out that heavier moisture down into the southern sides of Quintana Roo, but it is still all over Belize and Guatemala and portions of El Salvador and certainly northern Honduras and Nicaragua. It's going to be wet. So let's talk about the rain impact. Actually, the first thing I want to do here is look at the rainfall from the GFS, and then we'll take a look at basically what is still the probability of the amount of rain in this area. So we'll just have to go out here a couple of days. Let me do that real quick. Here we go, it pops on. What do you say we go out into the morning of the 20th, but that should completely cover all of the aspects here. Now again, let's be clear. The Hurricane Center still has Sara dissipating over the Yucatan and not truly being a tropical system as it comes back into the southwest Gulf of Mexico. It's the same scenario as yesterday. We'll talk about how we may not be able to completely put a pin in the storm coming up and how the remnants could still impact portions of the Gulf Coast of the United States. But hopefully, we don't have a true tropical system moving through the Gulf of Mexico early next week, and that appears to be the case. But again, it's just going to stay wet here, guys, through the remainder of this Saturday into Sunday. Here is early Sunday morning, widespread heavy rain field that is just slowly moving. Eventually through the day on Sunday, we start to pick up some forward speed. Again, moisture returns and lifts north, so Cancun and Cozumel will get some rain out of this as we go through Sunday and Monday. But then as we enter later in Monday, and we'll pick up on this later in the video, but we'll start to see this broad area move into the south central Gulf of Mexico, and this should begin to dry out Central America and the Yucatan during the day on Monday. But we still have what looks to be nearly 48 hours of rain. For Honduras, hopefully it's more like 36. But still about 48 hours for Belize and portions of the Yucatan. Now, other areas off to the south that could still be impacted, including Costa Rica and Nicaragua and Panama, still going to be fairly wet here. Now, remember, it's not just Sara, but some Pacific moisture coming back in to spread some heavy rain in this area as well. But the true impacts of Sara will finally begin to dissipate in this area throughout the day Monday and hopefully done by Monday afternoon or evening. Again, historic rainfall in Honduras. 10 to 20 inches have already fallen in some areas, but a grand total of 15 to 25, in some areas up to 35 inches of rain possible in the northern sides of Honduras. You saw the video out of there. Life-threatening flash flooding, mudslides continue, especially near the Sierra La Esperanza area, but there are many areas of Honduras that have been very, very heavily impacted by Tropical Storm Sara. The storm surge along the coast and coastal islands of 1 to 3 feet. For Guatemala, Belize, Nicaragua, and the Yucatan, especially the southern sides of Quintana Roo, it's 5 to 10 inches, locally up to 15. And again, for a lot of these areas, Guatemala and Belize and Quintana Roo, yes, we've had some heavier rain. Yes, we've had some street flooding and urban flooding, but there's a lot more still to come here in the next 24 to 36 hours. Friends, we're going to put a pin in Sara for just a second. As we do so, thank you for liking this video. Thank you for subscribing to Meteo Mundo as well. Appreciate all of our subscribers, whether you're new to the channel or whether you've been with us for the beginning. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for sharing this with your family and friends, and of course, finding ways to support the channel. We're going to get into how the remnants of Sara could play out in the Gulf coming up. I promise you that. But as I also mentioned, there are other impactful areas of flooding going on right now in our area, and that is eastern sides of Puerto Rico, portions of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and even a little bit of heavier rain for the northern side of the Leeward Islands as well. We'll start off in eastern Puerto Rico. Look at these storms developing here. I mean on the far east side of the island. Fajardo, Humacao towards Yabucoa, Vieques, Culebra, they're beginning to drift off towards St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix. Friends, it's wet, it's stormy, it's active. As a matter of fact here, we have several flash flood warnings that are currently in effect right now. I'm going to bring those up here. So let me stop this loop real fast. So here you go. At the hour, late on this Saturday, for the Fajardo area, Ceiba on over towards Humacao, flash flooding is occurring as we speak. So watch out for some extremely heavy rainfall. You live on the eastern sides of Puerto Rico, off towards Vieques and Culebra. Let me know in the comment section below exactly what's happening in your area, but this has cropped up relatively quickly. This is the live radar out of eastern Puerto Rico. I mean, look at this heavy rain that has cropped up. And not just that, look at the thunderstorm activity. A lot of lightning with this as well. All of this is continuing to kind of try and slide off towards the east, which is why eventually down the road, we'll get more heavy rain for St. Thomas, St. John, opportunity for more heavy rain where we have a flash flood advisory right now for the British Virgin Islands. Road Town, Tortola, Yost Van Dyke, Virgin Gorda, Anegada. Watch out again. If you live in these spots, let me know. And you can see St. Croix starting to get some rain moving back in towards the Christiansted area. Good downpours here. Very wet into our Saturday across this region. And again, not just wet, but some really nasty storms with a lot of rainfall here, likely over the next couple of hours. This continues again to try to drift off towards the east. So actually the wettest part of the day for places like Anguilla and St. Martin and St. Bart's and Ceiba, St. Eustatius, St. Kitts and Nevis occurring right now. And again, a few lightning strikes developing near the St. Bart's area, places like Antigua and Barbuda with that opportunity for some spotty, heavier rain. We've had some decent showers from time to time, Montserrat, Guadalupe, Dominica for today, a little bit earlier in the day, but I can't rule out some of that trying to redevelop as well. And then it's been a little bit quieter when you go a little bit farther south across the Lesser Antilles on this Saturday. Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, mainly just some isolated showers. Same situation for our friends in Nueva Esparta. Things have quieted down here in the ABC Islands throughout the day on Saturday, but that was not the case earlier. Take a look at this video Jaden sent me from Aruba, and we've talked about how the ABC Islands have just been plagued with dry weather. Well, they got their fair share of rain, and they got more than that. Some big time flooding going on in portions of Aruba. Again, that's a lot of water on the roadways. Folks taking it really careful. Again, at your own cost there to try and drive in some of these flooded areas. I get having to travel, but again, it's not recommended, that's for sure. But appreciate Jaden sending me in that video. Just shows you again that, you know, while we've been focused on Tropical Storm Sara, yes, there's been other big time action. Continue to see some scattered showers trying to develop, but the drier air is nudging into the Dominican Republic and Haiti at the hour. So more than anything, just some passing clouds. We've seen a few showers just trying to skirt the southeast side of the Bahamas and portions of Turks and Caicos. But again, on the north side of this, it's amazing. And it does happen this time of the year. I mean, again, these cold fronts coming in through the United States Southeast, they've got more bite to them. They've got more drier air, and you can clearly see it's pushing all that moisture off towards the south. And you want to talk about a good mid-latitude cyclone that rolled its way through Bermuda. That's exactly what we saw with some gale conditions across the island earlier today. That's now exiting stage right. Let's get into the forecast. So the first thing we're going to do, I believe, is we're going to talk about how I expect the rest of the remnants of Sara to play out. Then we'll get into the island by island forecast. How does that sound? So let's break this down for our friends in the Gulf Coast, Florida, and the Bahamas. Go back over here and we'll take our model. We don't really have to extend too far out. I'm just going to go one more day into Thursday, and then we'll go from there. So again, most of the models do not have Sara really holding on to tropical characteristics as it gets into the Gulf. It doesn't mean that the moisture is just gone, and it doesn't mean the remnant low is not going to cause some impacts to portions of Florida and the eastern side of the Gulf in general, but they're not going to be significant impacts. And this will be a very fast moving system. Typically, or more than likely, what I expect to happen is that we're going to see this mid-level circulation get caught up with a cold front as working its way through the southeast. It kind of elongates itself along that cold front, and then you just have a good push of some rain and a little bit of wind moving into Florida as we get into our Wednesday. So again, here early on Tuesday, you can see a little bit of that rain in the Panhandle, and then a very elongated system, no true center of circulation, no low-level center, works its way kind of through Florida and into portions of the Bahamas. So the bottom line is rain chances will be going up in these areas, especially late Tuesday into Wednesday, and then for portions of the Northwest Bahamas into early on Thursday as well. Now look, there could be some decent wind that comes along with this, okay? And we'll take a look at what some of the models are showing with that. I can't rule out some maybe 30 and 40 mile an hour winds with this. It's going to be a hybrid system, and that cold front's going to have some wind energy. So when you combine the two, it could be quite blustery for a time as this system moves its way through. But as far as keeping this a true tropical storm, having things like a storm surge to worry about along the west coast of Florida, the Panhandle of Florida, at this point in time, I don't expect that to happen. Again, you can clearly see here when I back out to this broader view, we'll start to pick up what is left of Sara coming through the Gulf right here. You've also got yourself a pretty good trough developing ahead of this cold front. You're going to have some wind picked up with that through the southern plains. That's going to merge into this system, and then you're just going to push some good wind and some fast moving showers across Florida throughout the day on Wednesday. So that's kind of the broad perspective of it, and it's going to be just kind of a windy forecast for the Gulf anyway here the next few days. But late Tuesday into Wednesday, there you go. You can kind of see it just moving in. And, if we take a look at what these winds are on the GFS model at about that time, let me back it up. These are sustained winds, guys. And there you go. So there's your sustained winds of around 25 to 30 miles an hour. As far as gusts go, when we look at the same time frame, I'm just going to take a single shot of this. Let's go early on Saturday morning. All right, we'll go out just a little bit longer. There you go. So again, just kind of on the back end of this, and actually, I can probably back it back up to where I was. Let's go here. That's probably a good depiction. Again, these would just be gusts. It's about the same situation, 25, 35 at most. You can see a couple of 35s up there. But just a windy, squally day on Wednesday for Florida, portions of the Bahamas as well. Okay, some of this wind will get to Freeport, Lucaya, Grand Bahama, Bimini, the Abacos, on over towards Walker's Key, maybe as far south as the Andros area. But that's all I expect out of this storm. Now here's the European model, deterministic out of it as well. And again, it tries to just show that there might be the smallest of circulations still holding together, but I don't expect this to be a true low-level center. I don't expect this to be a tropical system, but a wind bag and some rain coming through Florida on Wednesday, absolutely. Here are the high-resolution hurricane models running. We'll start off with the HMON. Again, it really blows apart the storm over the Yucatan, which is great news. Now, the HMON does try and, hold it together. There's a couple of reasons why I'm showing you this. First of all, the HMON has whatever is the broader mid-level center much farther south than the GFS and the European model. It has it coming through like the Fort Myers area. There's a lot of interpretation left. Now, it still shows some 50-mile-an-hour winds, okay? I don't know if it's going to get that high, but I just wanted to show you that because the HMON is a fairly reliable model here. But again, more than likely not a true tropical system. But the HMON is a little bit stronger with the wind, a little bit farther to the south. I don't put a lot of weight in that model at this point in time, especially with that wind field. HAFS A is much more in line with the GFS and the European model, meaning that's going to go a lot farther to the north. So the HAFS A is actually up towards the panhandle rather than even towards the nature coast or down towards Tampa. And again, wind profile there is on the stronger side. Just showing you again what the HAFS A is showing. Now, some of this could be more mid-level winds that work their way down to the surface, and there will be some gusts, and it'll obviously kick up sea conditions, but truly tropical storm impacts for Florida, it's not going to happen, I don't believe. Okay, obviously I'm going to monitor the remnants of Sara a lot, and if you do live in Florida, there will be some wind and rain impacts on Wednesday, but it should be in and out in a relatively quick fashion. Now for the rest of our area, and then we'll get into your island by island rainfall outlook here. So we'll just kind of pick up how Sara could play out over the Bahamas. Once again, it's going to be relatively dry the next few days. Scattered showers will kind of build in Thursday, and there are going to be a few more showers left over late Thursday and into portions of Friday for the entire Bahamas. But rain chances overall shouldn't be crazy high here, and that rain, as it pushes off to the south and east, will encounter some drier air, and it should be falling apart. So a little bit of a push of rain late Wednesday, Thursday for the Bahamas. Some of that could linger into Friday, but not much. Now look, we could still have some heavier rain through portions of the Dominican Republic and Haiti the next day or two, but we'll also start to dry out a bit as well. And, you know, kind of in between the two systems right now, not expecting there to be a ton of rain associated with that at this point in time. I do expect opportunity for heavier rain to fall again in Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands on our Sunday, and then drier air should start to move in, and overall it'll be much more scattered. Still could be pockets of heavier rain, but as far as the widespread heavier downpours, tomorrow should be the last best chance, and then improving conditions. Surf and sea conditions will stay high. I want to be very clear about that. Same situation for our friends in the Leeward Islands here, Anguilla and St. Bart's and Antigua and Barbuda. Best chance for heavier rain on your Sunday. Rain chances fall overall beginning on Monday through at least the middle part of the week. Still have some moisture to watch out for here on portions of the Windward Islands. The GFS is just a little bit more aggressive at trying to build in a little bit of that towards the Barbados area, and whether it gets any farther west towards Martinique and St. Lucia and St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Trinidad and Tobago is still to be determined. I am dropping rain chances overall, but that's something I'll be monitoring there. Nueva Esparta and the ABC Islands look to be relatively dry over the next couple of days. Now, Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, again, on the periphery, what's going to be happening with Sara, still going to have good rain chances for tomorrow. And then as Sara dissipates and moves away, the rain chances begin to diminish and drier air moves back in. But again, this is kind of throughout this late Saturday and into Sunday, where scattered showers will continue. And then as we get into Monday, you can see it's a lot more spotty, even into early on Tuesday. We'll back it up and show you the Cayman Islands as well. It's the same situation. Relatively high rain chance through our Sunday, much more spotty on Monday, and it just gets drier and drier. And as mentioned, we've already obviously talked about the rainfall in this area and how much more could fall over the next 2 to 3 days. So here we go. Your rain chance island by island. Northwest, central, and southeast Bahamas, all still relatively dry through Tuesday. Same thing for our friends in the Turks and the Caicos. Scattered showers in Cuba. Best chance will be on the western tip of the island. Cayman Islands, a 50% chance tomorrow, then isolated Monday, Tuesday. Going to be wet. Going to be flooding rains in portions of Belize. Please check in with your local government, your local officials, but get ready for more heavy rain through Sunday, tailing off early on Monday, drier on Tuesday. Cancun and Cozumel will see the surge of moisture come north, so it'll start to get wet through Sunday. We'll have scattered showers on Monday, and then as Sara pulls away, drier on Tuesday as well. 50 tomorrow in Jamaica, 30 on Monday and Tuesday. Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, U.S. and British Virgin Islands, still very high rain chances, especially Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Still a good chance for some flooding rains for tomorrow, so keep that in mind. Much drier Monday and Tuesday. Bermuda is going to dry out with still some gusty winds. Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, 60% chance the next couple days, 40 on Tuesday. For Antigua and Barbuda, it's a 50% chance tomorrow, staying 40 Monday, Tuesday, tailing off a bit in Montserrat. 40% chance the next couple of days in Guadeloupe and Dominica. Martinique around a 40% chance. St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, isolated to scattered showers tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday. Barbados, a little bit higher chance tomorrow. 40 Monday, Tuesday. Isolated to scattered Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname and Guyana as well. And then a little bit more in a isolated to very spotty fashion for Nueva Esparta and the ABC Islands. Okay, rainfall totals from the European model. Now again, let us be clear. This starts from this morning, okay? So this does not include what has already fallen in Honduras. And the European model still says an extra 17 inches could fall in northern Honduras. So if we're talking about 10 to 20 already, and another 17 falls, you get up to that isolated 35 that comes directly from the National Hurricane Center advisory, okay? Catastrophic flooding is going on, and our thoughts are really with our friends. But again, just to put this in perspective, we're not done with this rain by any means. It's going to rain all day tomorrow as well before it finally begins to break apart. Watch out for the heavier rain in Guatemala and Belize, and at least the southern coastline of Quintana Roo. But Central America overall, Costa Rica, Panama stay wet. There's your drier conditions through the Bahamas and the Turks and the Caicos. Portions of Cuba dry out as well. And then that wet weather just kind of tongues in, if you will, through portions of Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and the Lesser Antilles. A little bit of heavier rain actually stays just east of the Lesser Antilles. As I have mentioned, please, if you're doing some boating, check in with the local forecast because it's been pretty rough out there. A lot of swells, a lot of gale conditions as well. It just has not been a very fun time to be a mariner and trying to do some leisurely activities out there with everything we've got with Sara in the Western Caribbean, with the big time swells across the Lesser Antilles, and with the near gale conditions across portions of the Bahamas and the Turks and the Caicos. Really has felt like about the last week. Friends, I appreciate you guys. You know, you can follow us across all of social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. Like so many of you did, you want to send me a picture or video. It's mymediamundo@gmail.com. I didn't have time to show all the pictures and videos, but please keep sending them in. They really tell the story. Again, mymediamundo@gmail.com. As always, you have a specific question about the forecast, you can leave it in the comments section below. And again, simple payback. If you wouldn't mind, just hit that like button and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. You have a great rest of your Saturday. I'm back tomorrow with the newest information. Until then, you all take care, and I'll see you soon, right here at Meteo Mundo.